There we go. Good evening, good evening, Titan Nation. Sorry about the technical difficulty, but welcome into Titans and Truth. Welcome into the Super Bowl big game edition of Titans and Truth. I'm your man, Chris, aka Blue Enforcer, and we are going to have a very, very fun episode tonight as we are live on YouTube. We are live on Facebook. We are also live on Instagram as well. So as you can see on the bottom of your screen, you can follow on TNT Enforcers, also on my main page, Chris A. Newell. Also on Instagram, you can look on the blue underscore enforcer page. This will also be on Titans underscore in underscore truth as well. That is my Instagram page. So definitely follow those pages, and also on Twitter at TNT Blue Enforcer. So make sure y'all follow those channels. Make sure y'all follow along. I hope everybody is excited about this show as I am. As you know, we're not going to really talk a lot of Titans. We're going to talk a little bit. We're definitely going to talk a lot Super Bowl because the big game is this Sunday. And I mean, I know all of us as football fans love the Super Bowl, no matter who's in it. Yes, I would love it for it to be us. I would love for us to be in the Super Bowl, but instead, hey, it's gonna be a great game. Good times are gonna happen. So that's what we're gonna do. On Instagram, what's up to Mr. Titan? Hey, prayers up. Glad you are feeling better, that you are alive and kicking and still with us, Mr. Titan. Definitely saying what's up. What's up, Herman? What's up, AZ Big? Titans Mafia. Make sure y'all spread the word out and get with everybody. And BLVG 901, we definitely still got to get together. We got to make sure we get numbers. Let me see. I don't think I got your number yet, but we're definitely going to make sure we talk. So I haven't forgotten about that. But let's get into first. I had some Senior Bowl thoughts. We're going to talk some Titans first. And, the Senior Bowl just happened this past Saturday. And, you had some practices and things like that during the week. And some things that I noticed, and I mentioned this on the last show that I brought out when we were talking about the promotion of the offensive and defensive coordinators. And, the thing about this Senior Bowl is that this is probably the only one that you're going to get a lot of access to, as far as getting to, connect with players and see them in action and get to talk to them and things like that. This was the only real event where that's going to go down because, the combine is not going to happen and the pro days are going to be on the campuses. And so, if you weren't at the Senior Bowl, the only way you're going to be able to really get to them is maybe through Zoom or something like that. So, and I'm actually sharing, I'm actually letting people know that I'm live right now on Facebook, making sure everybody know where they need to come and watch the show. As we see some more people getting here, make sure y'all hit that like button, get everybody in here, get everybody involved. And again, we'll go back to the Senior Bowl. And, I got to watch the defensive line and edge rushers go up against offensive linemen. And I also got to see some wide receivers go up against defensive backs, because for the Titans, I know we need pass rush help. I know we need wide receiver help if Corey Davis leaves. And it wouldn't hurt to have some defensive back help either. So, I mean, it would be an advantage to us to definitely pay attention to those. So that's what I did. And what I came away with is some guys that definitely impressed me at the Senior Bowl. Some guys that you should keep an eye on. Number one is Quincy Roche, the pass rusher from Miami. Definitely need to keep your eye on him. He looked really good in one-on-one situations. I mean, he went up against Alex Leatherwood, a tackle from Alabama who, was thought to maybe go in the first round at some point. But I mean, Quincy Roche whooped him, whooped him, and you know, that is, that is, I mean, impressive. This is a guy that they thought would go in the first round and wasn't able to do that and wasn't able to hold up against Quincy Roche. Roche whooped him a couple of times. And so that was something that I was very impressed with, something that I definitely liked. Some other guys that stood out to me was Cam Sample of Tulane. I definitely like some of his moves. Wyatt Hubert from Kansas State was very impressive as well. Definitely got to see a little bit of Carlos Boogie Basham also. And matter of fact, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put up some top pass rushers that I was impressed with, that I've been impressed with and that I could be looking at. First off at the top is Gregory Rizzo from Miami. Now, I like Rizzo. I mean, I think he's a high effort guy from what I've seen. And again, I'm going to be looking at more film. There will be videos where I dive deep specifically into positions, where I will be looking at specific positions that the Titans need. So, there's going to be a video on pass rushers. There's going to be a video on defensive line. There's going to be a video on wide receivers, cornerbacks, those type of videos. So there are going to be videos on specific positions, but this is just what I thought of as I saw the Senior Bowl and as I started to watch a little bit of film on some of these guys. Gregory Rizzo, I think, is, he's definitely known as one of the top pass rushers in the draft. Now, I have heard a lot of words I've heard is upside. I've heard a low floor, but I've also heard the word raw, which scares me to death. Raw is a word that I'm not the biggest fan of. I don't like hearing, well, he's raw. He's raw. That, and I know a lot of it is because, as I've seen in some videos, Rizzo has not played the defensive line position or the pass rush position very long and things like that. So he still has a lot to learn. And I mean, in this point in time with the Tennessee Titans, we don't have time for no project. We need a guy that can produce, that look like he can produce. So Rizzo, even though he is the top pass rusher, kind of has me a little nervous. A guy that I am impressed with is Joseph Osai from Texas. I definitely like him. I think he has a high motor. He definitely has some nastiness to him and has a knack for getting to the football and has a knack for getting to the quarterback. So I do kind of like that. But now, with all of these pass rushers, none of these guys are guys that you're looking at in the top 15 or the top 10, which means they all have some holes in their game. What's up, Reggie B. King Isaac? Zach, what's up with you? And so all these guys have holes in their game. You just got to figure who is the best ready for what we're going to do. Another guy is Azeez Ojulari from Georgia. I just started watching a video on him, and he has a good step. He has some good length to him and things like that. But I need to see a little bit more. So I'm, again, these are just from some highlights. I like to go and watch like actual games of these guys. So I'll be doing that on YouTube where I go back and I look at games of these guys because I need somebody that's going to make an impact every single game and a guy that draws the attention of the offense to where it's like they got the game plan for this guy. Another is Kwity Paye from Michigan. Saw a few things from him. Looks like he's a better run defender than pass rusher. Again, that's something I got to take a look at. Again, Quincy Roche, I was impressed with, especially in the Senior Bowl practices. And I watched a little bit of film of him. Looks like he has a good twitch, has some good speed to him coming off the edge. And then there's Carlos Boogie Basham. I like the name, Boogie Basham. He definitely has some power to his game coming out of Wake Forest. And so these are some guys that I'm looking at. Again, my dark horse is Cam Sample from Tulane. Edelson Smith from Northern Iowa was a guy, I looked at him in the Senior Bowl and had a couple of impressive reps and things like that. He's a little lean, a little thinner. Look like he's about, I want to say he's about 6'5", 6'6", like 245, about 245, 250. He still has some, excuse me for that. He still has a lot of upside and definitely has, could definitely be a guy that if you get him in the, fourth round or something like that, he's a guy that could be a depth piece that maybe could turn into a starter at some point. So those are some guys that I'm looking at the moment. But as I start to look at film on a lot of these guys, I, will have a better definitive list when I actually do the video on edge rushers, probably late February, early March before free agency. That's probably what I'm going to take a look at. Also, of course, you got to think in mind, you got guys like, you got the free agent period with, Shaq Barrett, who's probably not going to make it to the market. Melvin Ingram, who's up in age, but he's a free agent. Bud Dupree, who's coming off of injury. Frederick Hendrickson from New Orleans, is definitely a free agent. Some other guys, you maybe could possibly bring back Clowney at a low price. But there are some pass rushers that are definitely possibly available. The only problem is they're going to be very, very expensive, like a Matthew Judon, who could be extremely expensive. So, that's something that we'll definitely talk about as far as pass rushers, because that is a big, big time need that we have got to address in free agency and in the draft some way, somehow. Another position that I paid attention to was the wide receiver position. And this is something that I took a look at as well. And some people that I noticed, definitely Amari Rodgers from Clemson. Another guy that I really like is Tylan Wallace from Oklahoma State. Amon-Ra St. Brown from USC. First of all, I love the name, Amon-Ra. Definitely from the Egyptian gods, descendant of the sun god of Ra. So I definitely like that. Rondell Moore from Purdue, a speed guy. Josh Palmer, who was very impressive at the Senior Bowl from Tennessee. Dez Fitzpatrick, wide receiver from Louisville. And I forgot to add one other guy that could be a explosive player is Dimitri Felton from UCLA. Played some running back. Looks like he's going to be a receiver, a twitchy guy. And I mean, this dude got some speed to him. He definitely has some speed to him, which I liked and was impressed with. So those are some wide receivers I liked. Defensive backs I kind of saw during the Senior Bowl. Keith Taylor from Washington and Afiti Melifonwu from Syracuse, who is the brother of former Raider defensive back, former second-round pick Obi Melifonwu, and Ben St. Juste from Minnesota were a couple of guys that were pretty impressive during the Senior Bowl that I noticed. Again, as I get into my draft coverage, I will definitely be looking at some more film on a lot of these guys, getting like some pros and cons for you. So definitely going to be telling you like what I like about some of these receivers, what I don't like, and some things like that. But those are just some of my guys that I liked coming out of the Senior Bowl that I was able to pay attention to. So definitely, if you do, go on YouTube and definitely go on YouTube and check out the Senior Bowl practices. I think the game was on there as well, so you could definitely take a look at that. Guardian down, what's up, Jameson? What's up? What is the cap gonna be, Jameson? Now that we're gonna find out. I pray to God it is not the low end at the 175. I think it may go now. Hopefully it stays where it is. If it stays at the, I believe it's 198 or 193, I think was what it was. If it stays there, then I think the Titans are in a pretty good situation. If it goes down to the 176, the Titans are in a bad situation. But if it's down to, say, 190, maybe 185, the Titans should be okay, but still need to make a couple of moves here and there. We're definitely going to find out. I think they usually say around the Super Bowl or right after, they usually have a estimate of what the salary cap is going to be. So that's something that we're definitely going to find out with that. So those are just some of my Senior Bowl thoughts. And again, these are some needs that I think the Titans have got to take care of. And these are some things that I've been discussing. We definitely got to address the pass rushing situation because we haven't done that in the last couple of years. Another thing that we have to address is the interior defensive line. And that was some things I noticed also as well with guys like Marvin Wilson from Florida State. Osa, I'm not even going to pronounce his last name because I wouldn't get it. The kid from UCLA is another big defensive tackle. And another guy, I forgot his name. I think he was from USC that was pretty impressive also. I forgot his name, but I'll have it when I actually do the video. And, you know, the Pittsburgh pass rushers, Rashard Weaver and Patrick Jones. And I noticed really with Patrick Jones, he does better on the inside than he does on the outside. Weaver had some very nice snaps as well. So, you know, I definitely like some of those guys. Guardian Down says, willing to cut Clowney and sign JJ if available. It depends on what JJ wants. I know Vrabel has a relationship with him, and I know we always like to retread Houston guys. But number one, JJ Watt's going to cost. Number two, he's definitely going to try to go to Pittsburgh and play with his brothers. So we'll definitely have to see about that. Wide receiver, if Corey Davis goes, then we need two wide receivers. We definitely need a speedy wide receiver no matter what. No matter what, we need a speedy wide receiver. And then, you know, we still need another guy that could go opposite A.J. Brown. So, you know, you got guys, you know, coming in free agency like a Kenny Golladay and Marvin Jones and, you know, AJ Green and some of those cats that are going to be available. But I don't know if you go after, you know, guy Will Fuller, way too injury prone. He has the speed part, but he's injury prone. And that's something that I am definitely concerned about. Cornerback is another. We definitely got to have some depth at corner. You know, you expect Christian Fulton to hopefully be back at 100%. Adoree too. Again, if you get rid of Malcolm Butler, you better bring in like a Stephon Gilmore or something like that, if that's the case, or something like that. But definitely can use some help at corner. Offensive line, we could definitely use a tackle because Isaiah Wilson was an unmitigated disaster. And you got to have somebody to back up a Dennis Kelly or anything like that. Now, I saw something on, I think it was the Goat House earlier today, and was talking about a Trent Brown, the tackle from the Raiders, and possibly it being a trade candidate. Now, I can see where that happens, and you have Dennis Kelly being more of the utility guy again. So if Lawan goes out, you put Dennis Kelly over there, and you're in a better position. Because I just think we're cutting Isaiah Wilson. I just think Isaiah Wilson stinks. Isaiah Wilson is an unmitigated disaster. Couldn't stand him. Don't know why we drafted him in the first place. And then, you know, we definitely could use a center because Ben Jones is getting up there in age. It might be time for us to move on from him. And C-Dub, you're right. Trent Brown does have a cap hit. So that is something to think about. That is definitely something to think about. But that was just a suggestion. I'm not saying they'll do it, but I'm just saying that is a thought. That was just something that I saw on YouTube earlier today that kind of caught my attention. So, and then last but not least, a backup quarterback. Somebody, and I'm just thinking we draft one. Somebody that we could put behind Tannehill that can, learn from Tannehill. That could be ready in about 3 years or so to take over for Tannehill at some point. So, somebody like a Kelly Mond or an Ian Book or a Sam Ellinger or something like that. Somebody who can sit behind Tannehill for a couple of years, learn the playbook, learn the system, and then, when it gets too expensive to keep Tannehill or we get to the end of his deal, hey, we got a quarterback that's waiting in the wings, ready to go. So that's something that we definitely have to do. And those are just positions of need that I think we have to address and that I think we need to take care of. Reggie B comes in and says, we need dogs at every position. Our coaches need to learn how to bring them to our team. And I don't disagree with that. We need high energy, dog, nasty guys. We need some guys that's going to, be relentless. And that's what I want. That's what I definitely want and definitely need. Now, C-Dub says Clowney for around $7 million. We're also like Hendrickson or Lawson as a free agent signing. Hendrickson is a slick underdog signing. The guy has a high motor and plays down there. He always plays hard and down there in New Orleans, so he could be a guy that's a high motor guy that could get some attention, or a Shaq Lawson, or I believe it's Carl Lawson, excuse me, with that. So CW said we need speed in the slot. I think we get rid of Adam Humphries. C-Dub says, I think CD is back. Jonnu, not so sure. I honestly think the other way around. I think Jonnu is back, not sure about CD. Vaccaro could be gone. Humphreys could be a cap casualty as well. Herman Burns comes in and said, do you think we could keep Butler? If we can restructure, yes. If he doesn't want to restructure, then unless you bring this, if you could bring somebody in that might be a little bit better, then yes, you move on from Malcolm Butler. But I think Butler will get restructured, in my honest opinion. Let's see. CW says I would like Hunter Henry. No, too injury prone. Let's see. Titans Mafia says J-Rob has got to hit some home runs. And I said that last week. I said that on the last show. He's got to hit some home runs. It can't be just no singles and an occasional double. You got to hit some home runs. You got to hit about 3 or 4, or about 2 or 3 home runs. You need a couple of triples. You need a triple or 2 and a few doubles. You need to have that. Jameson says Allen Robinson would be nice. Allen Robinson's going to be expensive. He could be expensive. So that's something that we have to do. Tighten Up Load is with us. What's up? What's up, Tighten Up Load? What's going on? Welcome on in. Let's see. So always glad. Let's see. Tighten Up Low says, still wondering where this salary cap is coming from. That's a good question. No idea. We should be finding out what's going on with this salary cap and everything. So we're definitely going to have to find out where are we going to be at when it comes to that. Let's see. Someone on Facebook said, did you read the article comparing us to Miami a year ago? I will definitely have to check that out. And before we go on any further talking Super Bowl, there's something that I want y'all to pay attention to, and that is this. This was a great article from ESPN. I'm hoping that it'll come up. This was written, of course, by our own TD, Teron Davenport. Shout out to TD. He, of course, he was in Mobile and put out 5 guys that the Titans should be could fill holes for the Titans, guys that we should be paying attention to. He mentioned Rashard Weaver, edge rusher from Pittsburgh. He definitely mentioned him. Keith Taylor, who we talked about at corner. KJ Britt, an inside linebacker from Auburn, who I thought was pretty impressive. Marvin Wilson, the defensive tackle from Florida State. I'm trying to bring him up. He's a very big guy, could be a big nose tackle, somebody that can be a space eater. So that's another guy that we could definitely look at. And then Amari Rogers, who we mentioned earlier, from Clemson. So that is definitely some guys that we could pay attention to, some guys that we should definitely take a look at. So shout out to my guy, Teron Davenport, for the big report that he put out in talking about draft prospects from the Senior Bowl that could be very, very impressive. Guardian says, should we be worried about Rashaan Evans' regression? He's already started to regress a little bit. I think Rashaan Evans could get traded, and we keep Jayon Brown and David Long. That's what I would do. That's what I'm thinking. But I know the team probably doesn't want to give up on Rashaan Evans just yet, but I can see that being a possibility. Herman says, what do you think? Do you think they'll go after Bud Dupree? Now, Bud Dupree's price could come down a bit because he is coming off of an injury. So we don't know how that injury is going to be. So, I mean, that could be a high risk, high reward type of situation. So we got to know that he's 100% from that injury. So that is definitely going to be something. We'll have to be checking out medicals when it comes to him. And that's something that we're going to definitely have to pay attention to. Joseph says, would love to have Shaq Barrett. I think every team would love to have Shaq Barrett, but I don't think he gets out of Tampa Bay. And we're going to be able to watch him firsthand in the Super Bowl, but I don't think he leaves Tampa Bay. I just don't see that happening. And speaking of Tampa Bay, we have Super Bowl 55. So for everybody else that's in here who are fans, yes, we're going to talk Super Bowl. We're going to talk Chiefs and Bucs. Yes, I hate Tom Brady with a passion, but he's in this game, and I unfortunately got to talk about him. Had to get some drink there, but Super Bowl 55 is taking over the airwaves this Sunday. The big game is happening. I'm looking forward to watching some of it with a little bit of with a couple of family members and having some food and getting to watch the big game and seeing what's going on with that, what's going to happen in this game. So I'm excited about it. And, you got the Chiefs, you got the Bucs getting ready to go at it. So, it's going to be about 5. I believe kickoff is around 5:30, I believe, is when they're going to start everything. Excuse me. And that's what it's going to be looking like. But here is the tail of the tape. So this is the tail of the tape. Chiefs 14-2, Bucs 11-5. The Chiefs were the number 1 seed in the AFC. The Bucs were the 5 seed, playing the wild card. Chiefs got a first round bye, and then they took care of the Browns in the divisional round in a pretty good game, and then outlasted the Bills in the conference championship to get to this point. The Bucs, on the other hand, played the wild card with a 5 seed. They beat the Washington football team. Then they went down to New Orleans. They won, I believe, 3 straight road games. They won 3 straight road games to get to this point. Went to Washington, beat the Washington football team, then went to New Orleans, beat the New Orleans Saints, then went to Green Bay and beat the Green Bay Packers. And now the Bucs have become the first NFL team to play the Super Bowl in their home stadium. So that's what's going to happen. So the Bucs are going to have a slight home field advantage. And make sure y'all continue to get those likes up. Joseph says, I'm not a Tom Brady fan, but I'm rooting for the Buccaneers. I'll tell y'all in a minute. I will be telling y'all soon what my prediction is. Ty Mafia says, any pass rush any pass rusher worth anything won't make it to free agency. That much is true. And he said, Jameson says, Phil, J-Rob is going to fill a need position during the free agency period. I mean, we got wants and needs, and we need to take care of both. So, Guardian Down says, feels like this is an 08 Giants upset again. Talking about the Bucs possibly upsetting the Chiefs. James says, this is one of the few Super Bowl where I really do not care who wins it all. And to be perfectly honest, I don't really care either. I mean, I'm going to watch because, I'm a fan. I love football. So, of course, I'm going to watch. But I don't really have any vested interest. I may put a bet out there depending on what it is. It's probably going to be a low bet, hoping for a high reward when it comes to the Super Bowl. So, right now I am not 100% certain what the line is with Vegas. I'm going to see if I can look up the Super Bowl odds right now for this game. As of right now, what the odds are for the Super Bowl. So I'm trying to see if I could go to let's see. Give me out. Yeah, I'll stick with me for just a second. I'm trying to pull up from DraftKings Sportsbook, trying to see what looks like what the odds are for the Super Bowl. I'm gonna try to see if I can find out what it is, if I can. But let's see. I'm trying to see if it'll tell me anything at the moment. So, okay. So right now it is Chiefs -3 right now. That is basically the bet. Chiefs -3. So they got the Chiefs favored by 3 in this game. And so that's something that's very, very interesting. It could go either way. So that's a pretty close bet right there. And so right now, according to DraftKings, they got the Chiefs looks like minus 115. So that means if you could win $115 if you bet $100 on the Chiefs to win by more than 3. Over and under is 55.5. Let's see. Well, it's minus 115. I'm sorry, but that's what it looks like right now. So right now the Chiefs are the favorite. Joseph says Shaq Barrett is going to destroy Patrick Mahomes. We'll definitely see. Titan Mafia says, haven't watched the game since we lost. Vrabel and company took a lot out of me. I understand, Titans Mafia. It took a lot out of me too. It's taken a lot out of me as well. But if you look at this game, you got one that's a fast-scoring, high-powered offense. You got another that's very efficient. So you got Patrick Mahomes, who can light it up anywhere, and got all the speedy weapons of Tyreek Hill, and you got Mecole Hardman, you got Travis Kelce, you got Sammy Watkins, and you got Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You got just so many weapons all over the place for Kansas City, but you got a pretty good pass rush with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Shaq Barrett, Ndamukong Suh, Jason Pierre-Paul. You got 2 extremely talented linebackers in Devontae David and Devin White. And then you, of course, got now the secondary for the Buccaneers could be their weakness. I don't know if their high talented safety Antoine Whitfield Jr. is going to play. That's a pretty good question. That's going to be a very interesting part because I don't believe he played in the NFC Championship game. So that's something that we're definitely going to have to find out if that is the case. But on the flip side, you got Golden Boy, who I cannot stand in Golden Boy Brady. On the other side, he's got his weapons: Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Scotty Miller. You got Cam Brate and OJ Howard, who we really haven't heard a lot from OJ Howard recently. So I'm not sure what's going on with him. And then, of course, you got Rob Gronkowski and everything. So if the Titans can't bring back Jonnu Smith, I wouldn't mind going after OJ Howard, maybe in a trade for a low draft pick. Wouldn't mind that at all. So, and I mean, you got two good offensive lines going at it. Brady is very efficient with his passing game. You know how he likes to do it. And then, of course, you got Leonard Fournette in the backfield. You got Ronald Jones as well, helping them in the backfield. On the other side for the Kansas City Chiefs, their defensive line, not exactly one of the best. Their defense, not the greatest in the world. I mean, yeah, you have Frank Clark, and that's about it on that side. And then you got Tyrann Mathieu on the back end, but Kansas City's defense is not really anything to write home to mom about, but it's because their offense is so good. That is why, that is why Kansas City is even in this position. They're probably the worst defense that lasted in the championship round. On Championship Sunday, they were probably the worst defense of the four. So, as Joseph says, I mean, this could be a shootout, and it very well could be. And I definitely could see that happening. I definitely see that being a shootout. Let's see. Jameson puts up an interesting point that these two teams did play earlier in the regular season, and the Chiefs won that game. And Jameson says, I wonder if the Bucs learned their lesson from when they played the Chiefs earlier this year and not have a one-on-one matchup against the cheetah, which is Tyreek Hill, or else they'll get burned again. Because Tyreek Hill, yes, Tyreek Hill abused Tampa Bay the first time. I mean, he had over 200 yards receiving in the first half alone in that game. He absolutely obliterated the Bucs secondary the first time. And let's tighten up. Thank you guys for that. Make sure y'all check out Let's Tighten Up podcast. They got some good stuff out too. And everything. Shout out to Mr. Titan, Ken Moore. Shout out to Two Tone Zone. Shout out to all those guys, Titans Tube. Also, shout out to MJ, Sports Fan Entertainment, trying to get with him as well. Got some big things coming up. He said, OJ Howard's been out since week 4, ruptured Achilles. Well, then there it is. That answers the question. So he's been out due to injury. So, but this game, I think, is definitely going to be a shootout. And this is going to be a high-scoring game because it depends on which defense is going to make the stop, which I think Tampa Bay's defense is the better defense of the two and everything. But this leads me to my prediction on this. And you got Bruce Arians versus Andy Reid. That is a very important matchup as well. You got Eric Bieniemy versus, I want to say it's Raheem Morris. No, not Raheem Morris. I'm sorry, not Raheem Morris. I want to say Leslie Frazier is the defensive coordinator in Tampa Bay. So you got that matchup going on as well. Despite how does Byron Leftwich help Tom Brady in a lot of ways? But in the end, this is what I think is going to happen with this Super Bowl. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. But I think the Kansas City Chiefs go back to back. I think they win it again by the final score of 31-27. I was going to go a little bit higher than that, but then I had to think I got to give respect to the Tampa Bay defense. So that is why I say 31-27. Chiefs will win in a shootout in a close game. And Ty Bowles, thank you. That was who I thought it was. Ty Bowles is the defensive coordinator. Leslie Frazier was up in Buffalo, I think. So I don't know why I got that mixed up. So I apologize for that. But if I'm forced to choose a team, I'm going with Kansas City. I just think their offense is an unstoppable offense. And, the dink and dunk with Brady is not going to be able to keep up when Mahomes can score just like that and everything. Now, Tampa Bay gets the ball first and has some long drives and keeps Mahomes off the field, then yeah, that could work. But if Mahomes gets out there, strikes early, and is 7-0 to Kansas City, you're behind the 8 ball already. So that's something that you gotta think about. Let's see. James says, if I'm forced to take a side, I would go Bucs. I would go, he said, I would go Bucs because of former Nebraska Cornhuskers. Who are you referring to with that? As far as former Nebraska Cornhuskers, I'm not sure who you're speaking of. But that's just my prediction. 31-27, Chiefs will get the win. And Let's Tighten Up Podcast says, I'm with Kansas City too. And Ndamukong Suh. Yep, he is Nebraska. Yep, that is true. Should have been playing for us instead. But hey, it is what it is. So, to end the show, I didn't get to do this last week, so I'm going to do it this week. And this is the first Shut Your Pie Hole for 2021. And I'm going to keep it sports-centric. I'm going to keep it Titan-centric. And the first one has to go to everybody, to any Titans fan, and I have to talk bad about my own. To any Titans fan who wants to say that someone else is not a real fan because they criticize the team for any mistakes that are made, all I got is one thing to say to you. Shut your damn pie hole. Quit trying to tell everybody because they may criticize the team or talk bad about a mistake the team made, or all of a sudden they're not real fans. That's just telling the truth. I say this all the time. I'm going to praise the Titans when they do well. I'm going to criticize them when they don't. If I feel something is stupid or I feel something is bad, I'm going to tell the truth about it. As far as I'm concerned, Vrabel is arrogant. Vrabel can sometimes come off as a jerk. And I think in the long run, if he don't keep his ego in check, I think in the long run, not in the short term, but in the long scheme of things, Vrabel's arrogance could hurt this football team at the end of the day. So if I'm talking about Vrabel after an 11-5 season, and you're gonna tell me I'm not a real fan because I see what's going on, shut your pie hole. Don't be one of those fans that because we lost in the playoffs or everything, or anytime that we lose or we don't look good, be like, oh, don't talk bad about them. Don't talk bad about them like that. And you're not a real fan because you're talking bad about your team. That ain't how this works. Shut your pie hole on that. I've been a fan of this team for over 25 years. I was with them when they got to the Super Bowl and were 13-3 and got knocked out. Was with them through the last part of the Jeff Fisher years when they were 5-11, 4-12, when Skip Hicks was the running back, to when they really started to stink, and Wisenhunt, who was the worst possible coach we could ever have, the Munchak years, the Tommy Smith years. through Mike Mularkey to Mike Vrabel. Been through them all. So don't say that somebody is a fair weather fan or is not a real fan just because they talk bad about the team. There's some truth to some of that. Now, if somebody's just being outright ridiculous, okay, we got to stop them right there. If they're just saying, oh, this team just gonna suck all the way. Suck. Okay, if they're 11-5 and they suck, okay, that might be a problem. But if you're giving some constructive criticism, then accept it. Understand it. If you're gonna be like that, shut your pie hole. Don't be that fan. Don't be that guy or girl that's like that. If you are, stop it. Stop it now. Okay? We got a very good season that's going to come up. We're going to have a lot of tough offense to go against, which J-Rob better get that taken care of. He better fix the defense to be ready to go up against some very good offenses. And that's some stuff that we're definitely going to talk about. Indeed. So, Ty Mafia says, tell him, Chris, facts. Joseph says, I'm banking on Tampa Bay. Sometimes the highest seed seems to choke. Classic Rod says, I'm rooting for Brady and the Bucs. Vibe says, big facts. Let's see. Titan Mafia says, I don't think Vrabel can lead us to a Super Bowl because he's playing checkers while contenders are playing chess. And you're right. You got to be able to play chess. You can't just play checkers. Yes, Vrabel is a player's coach. And, you know, that's something that I heard about. One of the prospects, we'll talk about it, is that he's a coachable player. And that's somebody that Vrabel likes. He likes coachable players. Excuse me for a second, y'all. Had to work my phone. Vrabel likes guys that can be coached, that can be that like to learn and like to be taught. Those are guys that he likes. Class Ross says, been a fan since before they existed. OG Oilers fan. See, I started right when Eddie George and Steve McNair got drafted and Chris Chandler was the quarterback. That's kind of when I started to get in with with the Titans when they were the Oilers. And I still do remember that 93 game. I was about 10 years old and I watched. Reggie B says, I'm sorry. Can't stand Mahomes. Very arrogant. What's up, BLVG? Reggie B says, Mahomes is arrogant. I don't know if Mahomes is necessarily arrogant. I could see a little bit of cockiness in him. And, you know, Guardian Down says, players coach may not be what the team needs. That could be true. I definitely hated the hire of Shane Bowen. I honestly thought that Vrabel could have tried a little bit harder, but it seemed like he just gave the job to one of his buddies. That's just what it seems like to me. And he basically, and Buck Rising said it on his A to Z Primetime podcast a couple of nights ago. Vrabel basically stuck a couple of middle fingers at all of us, at the media, and all of us. He basically said, I know more than you. I know what I'm doing. You don't know. So that's basically what Vrabel was doing, in my honest opinion. So it is what it is. But don't be that fan, y'all. Don't. You know, be proud of the team when they do well. Be proud of them anyway. Yes, they had a great year. They won the AFC South, but this season was a failure. We didn't win in the playoffs, and that's what matters the most. Doesn't matter what you did in the regular season. It's always about what you do in the playoffs, and we didn't do it in the playoffs. And we got a lot of work to do to get ready for next season. So, that's about it, everybody. That is the show. I've had a good time with y'all. And I thank y'all for tuning in to Titans and Truth. And as usual, sorry about that. And as usual, y'all know what we got to do. There's only one thing that we know to do, and that is very simply that we just have to, no matter what, tighten up. Wish y'all a good night. See, some of y'all have been fans since 2000 or even before. Love the team. We're going to stick with them. We're going to be back next season. But y'all know, this is all we know how to do, y'all. I'm going to have some more videos coming out. I may not be going live next week, but I will have some videos coming out. Gonna have some things coming up. May do a couple of small videos talking about maybe my top 5 games, maybe top 5 moments and everything. So definitely look forward to that. And we got some new stuff coming up. So thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure y'all share the show out. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Spread the word. Tell everybody about this show. If you're not a Titans fan and you're watching, hey, check it out, because I am going to start doing some stuff that features the rest of the league. So tighten up, y'all. I'm your man, Blue Enforcer, and I am out. Thank y'all. Tighten up. Happy Super Bowl Sunday.